everyone, and welcome back to my channel if you're returning, or welcome if you're just tuning in. My name's Annie, and today I'm going to be giving you my long-awaited DIY cabinets for my room makeover that's going to be done on a budget. So if you're interested to see how I go ahead and DIY this cabinet for my room makeover, then stay tuned. So without further ado, let's get right into this project. So today I'm going to be using MDF board, which is medium density fiberboard. It's technically not lumber, it's engineered. So if you're looking for that real type of quality, stick to regular lumber. For the sake of the budget on this project, I'm going to go ahead and use MDF board, and also just for the sake of the environment to cut down on lumber use, I'm going to go ahead and stick with this MDF board. So, like I said to you guys, I'm no DIYer. So Google's been my absolute best friend in this project. I looked up a couple things online about what I would need to do this, and I asked a couple people at the generic hardware store I went to pick up this board from. So I grabbed a couple of items, I have them here, and I'm just going to take you guys through the process of what I do. So to begin, I did have them cut the lumber in this store. So if you guys don't have a table saw or anything like a circular saw, you can go ahead and have that option done for you. Since it's already been cut, I'm not going to be showing you that step, but I'm going to go ahead and sand it down and kind of talk to you guys about why I'm doing this and the other processes and the other steps in the process. So I'm sanding this piece of board down, and this is a tester board. It's always, I think, smart for you to go ahead and cut a piece of material that you're not familiar with and use a tester piece on it, just so that you know how it's going to react to whatever products it is that you've bought. So you know, I don't know, just a little bit more about the material before you go ahead and try to build a full piece in your room. If you're not familiar with anything, I think it just makes it so much easier, so you're not just making a big pile of crap and just junk it in your room. But yeah, so let's just start sanding this thing. As you can see here, I've got all these beautiful Ryobi products. I don't have, unfortunately, a Ryobi sander. So yeah, I'm going to be using a lot of Ryobi products today. Don't have a sander, but if anybody from that beautiful company wants to reach out to me and donate one for me. Hashtag not sponsored, hashtag please sponsor me, hashtag forever love this channel. Let's get into it. So now that the sanding is finished, it's basically just me prepping my surface so I can go ahead and adhere anything else like paint or some plaster to the edges to kind of seal them off. I'm going to go ahead and sand this bad boy down using my handy, trusty Ryobi leaf blower. I basically wanted to also show you guys that one battery for literally all of their tools works, so it's interchangeable. I only need one battery. So I'm gonna go ahead, take my battery out, put it in this puppy, and it's good to go. And for anybody out there who's wondering why I'm using the leaf blower to get all the sawdust off my project, tip, a little known tip, an unknown tip from trade is basically a lot of woodworkers use leaf blowers so they don't have to use a wet cloth or water or anything like that. So they're not actually putting water onto their project before sealing it. So, pro tip from not a pro. And let's move this. So I've gone ahead and gotten all the sawdust off my project, so none of that extra stuff will go ahead and get into my paint or anything like that. And since I'm going to be using some other Ryobi products and stuff like that, I'm going to go ahead and take my battery out from now. Simple as that. Now, when Googling how to prepare or prep MDF board, basically, and also asking at the generic hardware store, I was told to plaster the end bits or the edges because they weren't finished, and it would give it a nice finished look. And not just that, would just help it be more susceptible to accepting paint or any type of lacquer that I want to put on top. So I'm going to go ahead and try to open up one of these. Now, this is just stuff actually my mom had laying around, and hopefully it's still good. It's pretty decent. And like I said, this is a tester board, so I'm going to go ahead and try a bit of this on one edge, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to paint on just a raw edge and see how the paint absorbs into the material. But like I said, I want to go ahead and try both methods to see which one is best. When you do go the plaster route though, just know this is probably going to be a longer drying process and probably a longer painting process because you have to let this stuff dry. She's looking kind of thick. Spackler's not working. Let me try my fingers. I mean, it's a little bit better. Does this stuff expire? Wow. I think if anybody, again, like I've said to you guys before, if anybody deserves a Genius Award, it's me. Always read your directions. This thing says to like mix it up first and then use a wet blade. I don't even know how one's supposed to mix this up. I don't even know. And back from my small directions read intermission. Basically the tub that I was using was a little bit dried out, so I did grab another tub. I went ahead and mixed it. I'm going to go ahead and use my finger, and I put a protective glove on so it doesn't burn my skin like it was earlier. I'm going to go ahead and wipe some onto the edge with my finger, and I'm going to smooth it out with this sponge. Yeah, LOL. And then sand it down. Reel me man down. Reel me man down. Alrighty. So, the glove is kind of making it a bit difficult because I don't know who it is. So, I don't know if it's gonna work.
What is the instructions on the putty or whatever? You have to leave it to dry.
Thank you. I am getting a special report in from one of my special guest producers this evening. I don't know. Special guest producer mother.
Other way. Other side. Start on the other side and go towards.
Okay, thank you also. Special guest producer, brother. Alrighty.
The knife.
For what, man? You know I'm gonna leave it in here, right?
The knife will give you an angle and it'll push it in there. Work it in.
I really feel like it's good though.
It's looking good.
It looks very good.
Alright. Sorry guys. Don't look at my special guest producer.
But listen.
And or listen. As they're telling me. let that dry for a minute, because oh, I know DIY. But I'm gonna just let this dry for a minute, and then go to another side. We'll lay this down, and then try to, well, number one, we clean my area of it, and then I'm gonna try and see if the material will just take paint without plaster. So I looked up again on my friendly assistant Google, Google, and basically I was recommended latex and or acrylic paints. So I went ahead and got one from Rust-Oleum, a little quart, yeah, paint. I feel like that might be all I need. If not, I'll go back. You know what I wish I really would have done, and now that I'm thinking about it, lined my tray with something plastic. So for anybody who's doing a project at home, if you want to go ahead and line your tray with something plastic, it'll help maintain the paint so you don't have to keep pouring it back in and out of the jar, and also it'll help maintain validity of your tray so you're not buying a new one every time you have a project. So foul on me, but hey. Don't make the same mistakes I did, guys. Don't do it. So I have like a pretty dense foam roller because it creates a smooth finish, and I wanted a smooth finish. Also, my paint has a semi-gloss finish as well. And on it. I'm going to go ahead and try it on this raw edge here and see what happens. Thank you, special guest producer. Yes. One moment, friends. Alright guys, I just got a special delivery in from one of my special guest producers for today. Got a couple brushes. I'm going to go ahead again and try with the roller and see how it takes it. Don't ruin my roller. There, pretty decent. Yeah, no, I don't like it. Wait for the plaster to dry. It's kind of looking like, I don't know, unfinished wood, which is what I was told it would look like if I continued with this method and not plaster. So let me see what the top part looks like as well. And if you guys noticed earlier, like, wow, that girl really has no idea how to sound, and she's asking Ryobi for some sounders. Like, she needs help. No, friends. MDF is a board that you really don't have to sand that much. It's already got a smooth finish. So there's a couple lines in it, and that's pretty much all I needed to scuff up the surface so I can absorb some paint. So let me go ahead and give this a try on this smoother surfacey type. Alright. I like it much better on the top. So let me show you guys the very clear difference. Since this is a much smoother section of the board, it basically went on pretty even and took all of the paint, whereas the, I don't know, unprocessed or unfinished edges kind of had these patches where I would have to continue to give it coats and coats and coats, and it still would look kind of jagged. So I'm going to go ahead and continue the process and the project by using the plaster process. So, yeah, I'm gonna get on with this then. Okay, so I went ahead and sanded and blowed off all the dust yesterday from the materials and the pieces I'm going to be using today. So I'm just going to go ahead and plaster the edges, let them sit out to dry, and then probably maybe come back to these in a couple hours, see if they're good to paint. If not, come back tomorrow. So, 14 billion hours later, and it looks like I'm finally ready to start painting. So I got my roller, I went ahead and protected my tray this time around, and I'm going to go ahead, pour some in, do the bead. I went ahead and made things a little bit easier on myself and put things around on top of my mom's stack here. That way I can go ahead and get like 4 sides at once, let that dry, flip it over, get the back side. So, first coat looks like it's all done. I'm going to go ahead and wait for that to dry a bit. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the sides and flip it over. And I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera so you guys don't have to stick around for all this. Next time I see you guys, I'm going to be putting this together, hopefully. Fingers crossed. See you guys next time. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you guys. Just sitting here watching the paint dry. 14 billion years later? Well, maybe not 14 billion years, but long enough for me to get a cool Wilson pal going. Long enough for Wilson to grow hair. Let's just say I've been here a while. Now that all my boards are finally sanded, prepped, and painted, I'm finally ready to pre-drill some holes in them with my Ryobi drill. Before I get to that, I wanted to let you guys know about how I did use my circular saw on this project. Took off a couple additional inches that generic hardware store wasn't able to do for me. Would have really been great if I had a table saw, Ryobi. Hint hint, not nod, wink wink. No matter, we made it work. So, now that I've gone ahead and explained to you guys why I had my circular saw out this entire time for no reason, let's go ahead and get into using this drill. What's up everybody and welcome back. So now that I've already got my board that I'm going to be working with on my table, I went ahead and grabbed some painter's tape. I'm going to use it as my guide. I went ahead and marked out where I wanted to screw the pre-drilled holes, so I can go ahead and, after I'm done screwing them in on the board, lift up this piece of tape and move it around so I can continue to work with ease on that. Please watch your clip. Special guest producer. I'm gonna go ahead and use a drill bit here that is slightly smaller than the actual screw holes that I'm going to be using later on.
Straight.
How far?
All the way through.
Huh?
All the way through.
To the other side?
Yes.
Like that? Alright. This piece of tape also assists with the wood from splintering, and it keeps basically from you having to mark up all your boards and they're all like scratched up with some pencil or pen. And just like that, our first two pre-drilled holes are all done. And I've got a nice template for my other ones. Ta-da! And they're not the most perfectly done holes, but again, I ain't no DIYer. So for the sake of my storage in my phone, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these off camera and then show you guys what it looked like when it's all said and done and up in my room. So the next time I see you guys, I'm gonna see you guys on the reveal for this piece. Catch you next time. Oh, it's you again. Hey, still me here. I know last time that we met, I said I'd show you this bad boy all set up in my home. But I had to add a couple shelves here that weren't in the original plan. Intentionally, I had made a horizontal piece so I could have one large shelf. It didn't work out. So I had to cut that in two and make two vertical pieces. I felt it was necessary to go ahead and explain this to you before I went ahead and showed you the reveal, and you saw that the shelf was different. And you might have thought, wow, did she go out and buy a new shelf and lie to us and tell us she DIY'd one? No, but I'll tell you something. I really did think about doing that. So much so, I'll even show you at the end of this DIY video how much it actually would have cost me to purchase one of these cabinets rather than make it from MDF board. Well, say lovey, I guess. I'll see you guys next time on The Full Reveal.